Hello and welcome back to Code with Clarks, and today it's going to be a short video. We're going to handle an items bar as fast as we can. So we can go back to our index. This is where we left it. We have created a toolbar, gave it some props that goes with it, which is a use state constant in here, which is are we able to scroll. If you followed the videos before that in the Serie, you probably know what we are doing in here, and we have created a search bar. For now, we are not dealing with all the functionalities. We have just showcased the functionalities we want to achieve. For now, let's just handle our items bar, and as promised, we're going to go back later and refine all our components that we made with all the functionalities needed. And for now, we want an items bar. So let's just go ahead and invoke it before creating it. An items bar, and the items bar for now. Let's just close it, not give it any props, and save. Let's go to the components, create a new file, call it ItemsBar.js. I'm an RFCE there. Probably know now about the plugin we're using to get this abbreviation. It's going to give us a React functional component. Just do a little bit of indentation, make it look nicer. As always, format the document. And we have a div that says an items bar, a text inside of it. That's what our functional component is going to return for now. So let's try it out. We export it in here. And let's import it where we want to use it, which is our homepage. Import items bar from this location, components, and items bar. So if we save now, we should probably see items bar. That's what we're seeing here in our homepage. So let's go ahead now and close our index and go to the items bar. In my items bar, I'm going to create, before the return statement, I'm going to create a constant and call it items. And it's going to be equal to an array of objects. So let's just have 4 items in this. Let's create them first. We'll have 4 objects in the first one, or each one of them is going to have, for now, I guess, 3 keys. So it's going to be item name, column, and open some apostrophes, so you can write a string in there. Item name, we'll say item key because we want to map through this array, and we probably want some unique keys for each object of these. Item name, item key, and we want item link. And I'm going to go ahead and copy this, paste it back where I want to use my objects. So the first item name, let's call it best deals. Second one's going to be, for example, top rated. And then again, this is a personal preference. You don't have to use this items bar because we already have the menu and we plan to do navigation from there. But this is just a plus to showcase your best categories that you want people to route into. So best deals, top rated, maybe we'll have something like by price, and the last item will have something like by color, by theme. It's up to you. You can have more than 4 items. That's again a personal preference. For the item key, I'll just use, I guess, the item name, or actually, let me just give him keys. I'll say item 01 and copy it and paste it in all of them, and come back and say item 2, item 3, item 4. And then again, this is just a plus right now, so we don't have to deal with creating our own key. It should be simple when you map through it. Maybe you could just use this one and say item name to string, and it's gonna also have a unique key as the item names are different. But for now, we just gave it a unique key just for the sake of explaining everything. And for the link, we'll give that first one we'll give it a slash, and we'll say best deals, which is a page we'll create later in our pages that we can route to. And the second one, top rated. And again, you can use any links you want in here to the name of your pages. It's up to you. My page, like for example, if I create now a new file in pages and create a new page, that one is going to be called best dash deals. Top rated and by price. And the last one is going to be by color. So in this div right here, I'm going to take that placeholder, which is ItemsBar, and I'm going to open some brackets in there and say items, which is the name of my constant in here, which is an array of objects. I'm going to say items dot map, because I want to map through it. And inside that map function, I'm going to open some other parentheses and say inside of an item. So for each item in items, so now this item is going to be a single object. So this items is an array of objects, and we map through it. We'll take the first object, second object, third object, and fourth object. So this items represent a whole object. So after that parentheses, we'll open our arrow function, some brackets, and we'll say, so this item we said represent a whole object. So we'll be creating a new component, and this one we'll call it single item, and say key, give it a key, which is a SX attribute, which is, we'll give it a key of item. If you remember, this item now represents one object. So item dot the key is what you can see if I push a dot, that it already gives me 3 keys that I can choose from here. So we'll choose the item key and give it to the key attribute and create our own attribute. We'll call it link to, and link to where? Link to item dot item link. And let's put the name here and say name equals, again, item dot item name. And go ahead and close this component we have created, and we send some props with it. So we can save this and go back to my components folder and create a new file. And in that file, I'm going to call that one single item, or I'm going to call it, that's up to you, personal preference again here, ItemsBar single item, just to be super descriptive with it. Okay, in there I'm going to RFCE again, give me a functional component, do the same again, do some, I'll take that div, I don't really need it, and I'll take that placeholder, and instead I'm going to use a link, and it's going to be imported right here. If it don't for you, just go ahead and import that, get rid of that React import. In the link, I'm going to give it an href of, if you remember, this item we used here is going to be import single, let's call it as it was called in the file, and change the single item to ItemsBar single item. It should be any name you put in here, or you could leave single item in here and keep it, but the import from is a unique place that should be called whatever you called it in your structure in here. Hopefully that was understood. If I save now, go back to my items in the href. If you remember in here, we have taken some props. We have a key. So let's destructure in here, open some brackets and Control V, because I copied it, the key, and we have another attribute called name. We'll get that one as well. And we have the last attribute, which is link to. Control V. This way we can have it programmatically instead of writing the items we need. We can have them programmatically. For example, this items can come from your database whenever you add some new category. For example, in an independent REST API that you connect to via your computer or your phone or whatever you created a mobile app for, that's up to you. For example, an admin account that's gonna, outside of this application we created, for example, push or populate the database with some items each time you create something new. For example, in your e-commerce platform, you create a product this month and you wanna you don't want to go back to your application and change each item. Now, for example, you want to showcase a category of, I don't know, by theme, you know, after you create, for example, some theme, or by material, for example, leather, iron, whatever. You can do that programmatically, and instead of writing this array in here, it could come from a database or an API endpoint. Okay. Hopefully that was understood. It's just a little technicalities, just to be clear about it. So in here, we said this href is going to take this link. So how are we going to do that? Just take that link to in here in the href and pass the href. We'll make it go to true. We don't have to, we can use only link because this is an internal routing. It's not external to some other, for example, server or another place. This is internal, so we can use the link that Next give us in this module right here. And to use link, always remember you're always doing routing internally. If you're doing some external routing, you can use the normal anchor tag, which is the A tag, normal HTML. And I'm gonna close that link. Inside that link, opening and closing tag, I'm gonna just to be on the safe side, put an anchor tag. Inside that anchor tag, I'm gonna put a div. And inside that div, I'm gonna open some brackets and say item, or actually I'm gonna say name, because we took it as name. Actually, we don't need this key in here. That key was specific to when we map through this array. Each item we create here, we already gave it the key in here, so we don't have to get that attribute right here or prop. So what's our single items gonna return? When invoked, sorry about that. When invoked, we're gonna give it some props, a key to be unique. Each item bar single item is gonna be unique with a unique key, and we send a prop of a name and a link that comes from this array. So in here in our item bar single item, or in our single item, we have a we don't have even to have this empty fragment right here, as we have one parent, which is a link tag. And that link tag have an href of that's gonna come as a props from link to, and it's gonna pass the href to true, pass the href to this anchor tag, and we're able to route to a specific route, which is this link to that's gonna come from here. Actually, we did a little mistake in the href. Let's do it like this, or we can go back right here and do it right. Actually, let's not do anything. Let's just save everything and go check what's happening. So we have nothing in our page, and let's see why. We have created this items bar. Did we invoke it in our home page? Yes, we did. It comes from here, and it is invoked right here. So let's resave. Is our server running? Just to be on the safe side, I'm gonna rerun it again and reopen my page, and I'm not getting my items right here. So we did a little mistake probably. So let's check it up. We invoked it right here. We imported it. This is the items bar. We have some items in here, and we return a div that's gonna map through each item and return an item bar single item. that we give some props to. Okay, and in the items bar, we'll have this return. So let me get back that empty fragment and see if it's gonna change something. No, don't change anything. So that's not where our mistake resides. Okay, have a link, name, and link to. If I say, for example, here, hello, see if it's gonna show up, and nope. Okay, that's a little bit confusing, and it's probably just a normal, simple mistake that we'll probably gonna debug here in a second. So we return a div in here. Okay, just to be on the safe side, let me give it some style. You don't have to do this, as we're gonna create a CSS file for it. So a style, I'm gonna say background color, just to see if we change anything to something chocolate or something. Save, and not showing. And okay, our component is not returning what it should be returning. So ItemsBar is invoked in the home page. ItemsBar from components, ItemsBar, and it is not working. Okay. ItemsBar, functional component. It's gonna have some items. Actually, let me give a padding here and see if it's gonna show up. Let's just give it 2 rems even, just to see if we're gonna see some other color. Okay, we have the color right there, so we're not mapping correctly through, and I know what's the problem. And this, I'm not gonna again edit the video. This is a learning process, so I want you to learn from my own mistakes. So what we've got is, when we map through this array, this item we said represent an object, and this arrow function, it should return that what we created. So without that return statement, this is happening, but it's not returning it. Okay, this operation is not returning it. So after a return statement, and we wrap that inside of it, now we're able to see what's happening, which is great. Okay, now we have everything correctly. And you can see that if I hover over each one of them, you can see in the bottom my link shows up: localhost 3000 by color, by price, top rated, and best deals. So everything is working correctly. Now we can pass to doing some styles. In this div, I'm going to give it a class name. Again, the same drill as always. It's going to come from a file called ItemsST, ITST, which is items style. For example, ITST dot tab or items group. Okay, let's go ahead and create a new file in the styles folder and call that one ItemsBar styles.module.css. We have that as a module right now, so we can import it right here. Import and ITST from styles, and the file's name was ItemsBar styles.module.css. All right, now I can close my Explorer, split my window. In there, I can open this file I've created, and let's start with our first class name, which is the div surrounding all the items. And let's target that class name, and let's give it a background color of, for now, a black. Give it a padding, for example. Let's not give it a padding. Let's display it as a grid. And I have 4 elements right there. So I'm going to say grid template columns. And I'm going to say repeat 5 times 1 fragment. So split my window to 5 equal pieces in width, because we're working with columns, and give each piece to this items. Actually, I'll repeat it just 4 times as I have only 4 items. So let's save and see what's happening right now. They are there. We'll just be able to see, well, change that color to something more light, and you can see my items are right there. What I can do as well is justify the content. Actually, what is it? We'll justify the items to the center. Save. Okay. And we'll align the items to the center as well. They already aligned, but it doesn't hurt. Okay, we have this items group. So I can go back now. I can copy the same class name that we imported in here. Control-C, and go to my single item and paste that same class name. And in this div right here, let's give it a class name of ITST dot single item. Okay, I'll get that and target it in my file, and it's single item. Let's see if it's working first. Let's change the color to some blue or something. Let's get rid of that color we have specified as a global color in my items group, and see if we can have a blue color, and we didn't. All right, single item. We have created it. We have created that style. Let's save both files because we didn't. And the color is working. Okay, so we have been able to target that class name. So let's give it a background color of aqua to see how it's behaving. Okay, so we don't want that. Let's see if we give it a width of 100% of the container it is in, and nothing changes. Actually, let's get rid of just justify items to the center and see now. Save. Okay, great. Width of 100%. I'll still put a width height of 100% to be on the safe side. Okay, now I can get rid of that background color, or let's leave it for a little bit. Padding, we'll give it a 0.5 rem. Okay, it's looking good. And text align to the center. Save. Looking pretty good. What else? I'll give it a border bottom, or yeah, give it a border bottom of solid, I don't know, some color, golden road, and let's say 0. something 2 rems. Save. Okay, correct right there. And that's just a placeholder for now, and I'll show you why. So we have created this item group. We have a background color. It's displayed as a grid with 4 columns equal size, and items are aligned to the center on the y-axis. On the x-axis, we didn't do anything, but in the single item, which is this div that represents the item name, that is wrapped inside a link, so we can click on it and route to that specific page name. And they have a background color. Each item have a background color that we can get rid of right now. And I'll give it a color of the text to just white for now, and save. Okay. In this border bottom solid, I'll change that color to the same color of the background in here, which is black. And we'll see why. Okay, I have some items right there right now. So I'll retarget this same single item, but now with a selector of hover. So when we hover over that, that's when I want my background color to change to go to black and make it lighter, which is a grayish. And let's get just copy, do a little bit of cheating, copy that border bottom, and now that border bottom, I want it to be something like goldenrod. Goldenrod. So let's save and see what's happening. Now, if I hover over my item, you can see that now I have a better design. Okay. Hopefully that was understood. So what I can do is add more padding to that. I like some paddings in the items. And what else? I'll give it also a height. After the height, it's given. I'll give it a font weight of something lighter of 300, for example, and a font size of something smaller, for example. See how it's going to behave. And it's looking pretty good for me. I don't know about you, then it's just personal preferences that you can change values here and get different results. So when we hover over that element, if you also want to change the color, for example, of the text, you can target that here. That is up to you, for example, or for me, I'm going to leave it as this, and this is looking good. Now, if I click on best deals or hover over it, you can see that we have a link to go to. If I click, it's not available yet, but if we create a new page, for example, and call this one best-deals.js and RFCE there, and for example, say, just don't change anything and save it. And now if I go and click on best deals, I go to this page that we have created, routed to this page, which is best deals, which is what we need. You can also, or later we can put those routes in our menu as well. And when we need them, like we said, we're gonna clean all these functionalities whenever we need them. So we're just starting to handle pages and routing. So probably in a couple other videos, we'll be creating our menu because we'll start to need it. Anyways, hopefully everything was understood. It's a shorter video, and hopefully we'll meet again in the next video as we're going to be creating our own slider right here to create some categories or departments or whatever you want to call them. So I guess we'll see you in another video. So if you like the video and appreciate the info we given, you can go ahead and click a subscribe to our channel and like the video. That would be really appreciated. So see you later.